Hello everyone, and welcome to Left of Meta! This is a series that I'm doing to highlight decent to good sets that can be good for newer players to acquire, due to the ease of acquiring them compared to more meta sets like Reliquant, Sororia, and such that require going to trials. A couple of ground rules for this. These have to be overland, PvP, crafted, or from base game dungeons. And they're going to be tested alongside more meta sets, which will be listed in the video and linked in the description. For stamina characters, these will usually be Leviathan, Maelstrom Bow, and some other monster set. For magic characters, these will usually be Mother's Sorrow, the Maelstrom Staff, and some other monster set. For healers, this will be Spell Power Cure, a monster set, and usually the Master's Restoration Staff. And for tank, this will be Ebon Armory and another monster set. With all of that out of the way, let's talk about this week's set. This week's set is called Mad Tinkerer. It drops in Clockwork City Overland and is relatively cheap on guild stores. The set gives the following benefits. At 2 items, it adds 657 spell critical. At 3 items, it also adds 657 spell critical. At 4 items, it adds 129 spell damage. And at 5 items, when you deal damage, you summon a Verminous Fabricant that charges the nearest enemy, dealing shock damage to all enemies in its path, knocking them into the air, and stunning them for 2 seconds. This effect can occur once every 8 seconds and scales off the higher of your weapon and spell damage. This video also includes the Maw the Infernal monster set, found in Banished Cells 2. All in all, this isn't a bad damage set. It's got a good 2, 3, and 4 line. 2 lines of spell critical and 1 line of spell damage is nothing to scoff at. And it doesn't deal terrible AoE damage either, especially if your weapon or spell damage is high enough that it's getting a good number out of that. But first off, this is a proc set, and we are currently in a meta right now where proc sets are going to be worse than just raw damage. That being said, don't let that discourage you from running cool proc sets, because half the time you're going to be doing roughly the same amount of damage anyways for most content, save for the super hard stuff. But the big downside to this set is that it's a stun. And to talk about why that can be considered a downside, we need to talk about crowd control and crowd control mechanics in this game. So, whenever a character is stunned, be they player or NPC, once that stun wears off, or that crowd control wears off, they have a 7-second immunity to all other forms of hard crowd control. So, if you stun the enemy, then the tank cannot chain them, which can be very, very annoying as a tank trying to get a pull-in line if your Mad Tinkerer goes off immediately on your first light attack. So this is not necessarily a bad set. It's just that it can prove a little bit more problematic in group content because of that stun timer. So if you're not running with that good of a tank, and you need the extra stuns to stay alive, or if you're just running solo, or if you just want to throw Robbit dinos at your enemies, then this is a pretty decent set, and it's a line of shock damage. That's not exactly a bad thing to scoff at, but do keep that stun timer in mind. But that is all we have for this week. Next week, we will be talking about the crafted set Daedric Trickery. So if you're looking forward to that, feel free to subscribe. If you enjoyed the video, please like and comment. And we'll see you all next week. And until then, good luck, stay safe, and don't die.